Perfect. So we'll start the session with a nice quote. What is today's quote? I find that the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. Nice one or not nice one? So what is the bottom line here? Luck or hard work? Hard work, obviously. This editorial, what is this about? It is about Enforcement Directorate targeting the opposition leaders and opposition members of opposition parties. It is about accusing ED not being fair, not doing its job properly. This is the main idea of the editorial. We'll start with the tone of the editorial. The tone of the editorial is critical and skeptical. Underline the word skeptical. Skeptical means doubting the Enforcement Directorate in this context. Doubt someone, skeptical. There are two words you have to know. One is skeptical. The other one, write the word cynical. What is the difference between these two? Skeptical is a neutral word. You doubt someone or something. Skepticism, noun form. But cynical is a negative word. Cynical means a person with negative attitude. Please write the word, write the meaning. A person with a negative attitude. You can also write the word pessimist. I am sure many of you know this word, pessimist. Always negative attitude. We also call those people sick personality or sick mentality. Not physically, attitude-wise. Sick mentality, sick attitude. Not advisable to be around with those people. Shall I go back to the tone? The tone of the editorial is critical, criticizing the Enforcement Directorate, and skeptical to what extent their actions can be justified. Editorial doubts. How does it start? Farce of law. There is shall we do with the vocabulary, then go to the editorial? Please go to the vocabulary part. First word is what? Farce. Part of speech, noun. Please strike off, use something. Those two words strike off. The meaning of the word farce, an event or situation that is absurd or disorganized. Underline the word absurd. Absurd means ridiculous. Something that is ridiculous cannot be justified. Please strike off the first two words. What are the first two words here? Use something, strike off. An event or situation that is absurd or disorganized. Spotlight can be a verb, can be a noun. But as a noun, it has two different meanings. One meaning, it goes with theater, it goes with movie shootings. There's a particular light beam is focused on a person or a particular actor. We call that light a spotlight. But here, different meaning altogether. Here it means to receive public notice. Also write one expression. Spotlight means to be in the limelight. To be in the limelight. I think we have got this many a time. Someone is in the limelight, something is in the limelight, means what? Everyone talks about that person, media writes about that person. So, be in the spotlight. Next word, launder. I am sure you all know money laundering. So, what is this launder? Part of speech verb. Conceal. Conceal means what? Hide. Conceal the origins of money obtained illegally, typically by transfers involving foreign banks or legitimate businesses. They get money illegally, they try to transfer that money in through legal channels. Then we use the word money laundering. Someone put a star mark, an important word. It can be a noun, it can be a verb. As a verb, it is not that important. What does it mean? It's a legal term. Orders someone to be present, especially in the court of law. The court gives us summons. But summon as a noun is very important. First you write the word summons. Answer my question. This is a noun. Singular or plural? Brackets you write singular. Tell me what is the plural form of summons. Write the word summonses. That is a plural form. Summons looks like plural, it is singular. What is the plural of summons? Summonses. They have given in a few exams, an important thing you have to know. Next word, incumbent, we have got many a time. What does it mean? Part of speech adjective. It goes with a government or an official currently holding office or in power. We have got so many times. Blitzkrieg, this also we got last time. What does it mean? Part of speech noun. A short period characterized by an intense effort to do something or a large quantity of something arriving. Someone does something within a short period on a large scale, then we use the word blitzkrieg. An important word, put a star mark. Not a regular word, so you have to put a star mark. And the next word is also an important word, slew. Part of speech noun, a large amount or number. Here you write the word series. Slew of welfare schemes means what? Series of welfare schemes. A large number continuously, then we use the word slew. Contain is an important word, put a star mark. All of you know the word contain, something contains something, but here contain has a different meaning. What is the meaning you see here? Have or hold within. But write the word contain means control. Please write the word control. Contain, regular meaning is different. Second meaning, what is the second meaning? Control someone. Contain something means control something. That meaning only a few students may know. Even-handed, part of speech adjective. Fair and impartial in treatment or judgment. Someone treats or judges properly without any partiality or prejudice. Even-handed treatment. Degenerate, part of speech noun, a verb actually, please change it to verb. Degenerate, to become worse in quality. And deteriorate, what are the synonyms? Degenerate, deteriorate, become worse. All these words you have to think of. It goes with quality usually. Arbitrary, another important word, and part of speech adjective, based on random choice or personal whim. Underline the word whim, rather than any reason. Now write one idiomatic expression. Whims and fancies. Does it sound familiar? He always acts on his whims and fancies. Means not based on reasoning, not based on rationality. Emotionally, based on emotions, no justification. You feel like doing something, you do it. No, you don't think of the consequences, you don't reason. Then what do we say? You acted on your whims and fancies. This has a negative connotation. Do remember. Does it sound familiar? Is the mic on? Familiar or unfamiliar? The last one we have got for the first time, put a star mark. Interment, part of speech noun, the act of burying a dead body. But in the context, you cannot take the literal meaning. It means burying someone's political career, or especially opposition leaders. That's what it means. Some of the words are very important we have got for the first time. Those you have to spend some time and remember. Now, shall we go to the editorial? Farce of law. Farce means what? Something that is absurd, not organized, not acceptable. Of law. What is the law we are talking about? On the searches in Rajasthan and the Enforcement Directorate. As I said, it is all about the ED being criticized for their actions, especially targeting the opposition party leaders. What is the main idea of this editorial? The Enforcement Directorate has failed. Today you see a lot of words have been underlined. All the underlined words go with grammar, and immediately recollect. If I ask a question, you have to tell the tense. Has failed. Present perfect. The ED has failed to demonstrate its impartiality in its probes. Probe haven't brought the meaning. I'm sure you all know. Probe means what? Investigate. If you don't know, write the meaning. Probe can be a noun, can be a verb. Meaning of that, investigate. Probing. But write one more expression. Generally, everyday English we say, I don't like his probing nature. Write these two words. He has a probing nature. Actually, the word probe goes with police investigation. But everyday English, everyday context, we come across some people, they try to find out about, they're very curious about others' personal life. They ask a lot of questions. Then we use the expression probing nature. What she did, what he did, his background, all that. Have you ever come across? We do come across. Then no one likes. Why should we probe into someone's private life? That is not a good thing. That you should know. And it talks about not partial, not impartial when it comes to the probes conducted by ED. That is the main accusation of the editorial. To substantiate this accusation or allegation that ED is not fair, it is impartial, they have to give some examples. What is the context here? Rajasthan. That is the context, and based on that, the entire editorial takes you in a systematic way. How does it start? Searches at the premises of Rajasthan Congress President Govind Singh Dosasra, a sitting member of the Legislative Assembly and a party candidate from Lachanmarg in Sikar in the Assembly polls in November, and that of independent MLA Om Prakash Hudla, who has been fielded. Who has been fielded? Which tense is that? Present perfect active voice or passive voice? Passive voice. Who has been fielded this time by the Congress from Mahua, have turned the spotlight yet again on the ED, a central agency that stands accused of selective targeting of opposition leaders. So a lengthy sentence, but what does it say? It talks about, it gives two examples. One is the party president, and the other one is a sitting member, MLA, and another independent candidate supported by the Congress party. And these two have been targeted by the ED. Based on that, the sentence says these two incidents or the searches going to their places and searching have turned the spotlight yet again on the ED. Turn the spotlight means what? Have turned, present perfect. Now again the focus is on the ED for a good reason or for a wrong reason? A wrong reason, obviously. And a central agency that stands accused of selective targeting. Selective targeting, obviously, what is the selective targeting in this context? Always attacking the opposition leaders and the members of the opposition party, never the members of the ruling party. That is obviously selective targeting of opposition leaders. I hope you got the meaning. Shall I go to the next sentence? The ED's money laundering investigation is based on the cases instituted by the Rajasthan police to probe the alleged leak of general knowledge paper of the senior teacher grade 2 competitive examination 2022, which was cancelled and rescheduled by the Rajasthan Public Service Commission. So this gives a specific example. What is this example about? Leak of, so not only in, this looks like a regular problem. Recently, you all know Telangana state, how many times Group 1 has been cancelled? Twice or thrice? Twice, I suppose. What is the reason behind? Paper leakage, and we have another, so they don't have to feel bad about that. They have company. I'm just joking. So it talks about the ED's money laundering investigation is based on the cases instituted. Instituted means filed by which organization? The Rajasthan police, to probe the alleged leak of GK paper of their senior teacher grade 2 competitive examination. What surprises me, imagine teachers, they are supposed to be, teaching profession is a noble profession. You all know that. And they are supposed to be fair, and they should have certain ethics or values. And they resort to something like this. Imagine tomorrow what sort of students they are going to produce. That is $1 million question. Yes or no? Now coming to this, based on the leakage which was cancelled, which tense is that was cancelled? Past tense, passive voice, and rescheduled by the Rajasthan Public Service Commission. The ED has also summoned, here it has been used as a verb, and which tense is that? Present perfect, has also summoned Rajasthan Chief Minister's Ashok Gehlot's son, Vaibhav Gehlot, in an alleged foreign exchange violation case. One goes with the education field, leakage of papers. The other one goes with who is involved here, who has been targeted, the CM's son, and what is the allegation about foreign exchange violation? That is also an important thing, and foreign exchange violation case. In Rajasthan, incumbent governments usually get voted out. If you guys remember, I did one editorial last week, I suppose, related to Rajasthan. Do you remember? And we got the same, certain ideas are repeated, some words are repeated based on that. Here it talks about that editorial also said that time. In Rajasthan, there is a tradition. What is the tradition? Whoever is in power, next time they lose the power. This is a tradition. Remember, sounds familiar. But this editorial today says it may not happen, and it provides a reason also. In Rajasthan, incumbent governments usually get voted out. Means what? They lose power. But Mr. Gehlot has effectively challenged that perception. Means he is going to come back to position, and it may not happen this time. And how? Based on what? Challenged that perception this time with a slew of new welfare schemes. Here, slew means what? Series of, number of new welfare schemes, and the accompanying publicity blitzkrieg. Accompanying means along with the schemes, he must have resorted. That time also the editorial said, he introduced a lot of schemes in a short period, and obviously that makes a positive impact. Based on that, he may come back to power. The sentence talks about the same thing. And it also talks about, last time also they mentioned this, factionalism and the fight between the CM and Sachin Pilot. Do you remember? It mentions the same thing. Factionalism in the Congress has been contained. Has been contained. Which tense is that? Present perfect active voice or passive voice? Passive voice. Here contained means what? Controlled. Factionalism in the Congress has been controlled or contained, and Mr. Gehlot and party colleague Sachin Pilot are united. Last time also they mentioned the same thing. On the other hand, now it talks about the BJP. On the other hand, the BJP is dealing with increasing friction within its ranks. Means underline the expression, its ranks, R-A-N-K-S. It means a party cadre, party workers, the leaders, all the leaders related to BJP party in that particular state. There's a lot of friction within its ranks, increasing friction. Means they're not happy. The Congress has termed the ED's action in the election-bound state as a sign of the BJP's frustration. Because the party cadres are not happy, there's a lot of friction within BJP party in the state of Rajasthan. Obviously, they get frustrated or they feel happy about that. They get frustrated. Whenever we are frustrated, we try to look for a source to take out the frustration. That is human nature. You all know that. Sometimes what happens, someone shouts at someone else and the person gets confused. Why is he shouting? He doesn't understand. But if he is mature enough, he will understand this guy is trying to take out his frustration. And I become the victim of that. That's what you have to understand. So, they are using ED, unfortunately. The sentence talks about the Congress has termed the ED's action in the election-bound state as a sign of the BJP's frustration. It's obvious. All these things are quite obvious. Only thing you see on paper. The BJP's claim that all ED actions are purely to root out corruption. Underline root out. Root out means what? Remove completely. For that we have another word. Write the word eradicate. Eradicate completely, root out completely, remove completely. There's another word, extirpate. Please write that word also. That also means root out, eradicate, remove completely. There's another word, but we don't use in this context, exterminate. Have you heard of this word, exterminate? It means remove completely. But these words you have to remember. The BJP's claim that all ED actions are purely to root out corruption could have been taken at face value. Underline the expression at face value. Means at the outset, on the face of it, you may consider, but there's one important expression over here, could have been taken. What does it mean? My first question, is it in active voice or passive voice? I could have taken something, active voice, something could have been taken by me, passive voice. But what is the function of could have plus verb past participle? It is used to express a past action that was to happen but did not happen. So I also tell students, could plus have plus verb past participle form. It is used to express a past possibility. Past possibility means what? Something was to happen in the past but did not happen. Imagine yesterday there was a match, India versus England, and Indians could not score 230, not a good score. 270, 280 would have been a good score. So perhaps the match was in favor of English people. Yes or no? Everyone thought England would win the match. They could have won the match, but they lost the match. They could have won the match means what? There was a possibility for the team to win the match, but it did not happen. So this talks about the BJP's claim that all ED actions are purely to root out corruption could have been taken at face value. Perhaps they could have been taken only if they were even-handed and impartial. They were not even-handed and not impartial, so we cannot take. There was a possibility to take whatever BJP said, but we did not take. Why? They were not impartial, they were not even-handed. The pattern of action and inaction by the ED leaves no scope for any such inference. Based on the way they have been attacking opposition members or opposition leaders, there's a pattern, it seems. A pattern of action and inaction by the ED leaves no scope for any such inference. What do you understand from this? Leaves no scope for any such inference. Means you can infer or you cannot infer. You cannot infer. Leaves no scope for any such inference. Based on the actions, you cannot say that they are doing all this to root out corruption. The ED's enthusiasm in pursuing political corruption fluctuates. There is one, underline the word fluctuates. Fluctuate means what? Stable or not stable. And there is one, usually at the personal level, this goes with the department level, at the personal level, someone is not stable. Today something, tomorrow something else. Like you come across candidates, today banks, tomorrow SSC, day after tomorrow UPSC, and the fourth day State Public Service Commission exam. They keep changing. So what is a word or expression? What do you call those people? Please write, fickle-minded person. Fickle-minded. Keep changing. But we don't use that with ED. That goes at the personal level. Fickle-minded person. We also use the same expression. It is British. Americans don't say fickle-minded. They use the expression scatterbrain. Scatterbrain. Both mean the same. He is a scatterbrain. He is a fickle-minded person. Means not stable, keeps changing his stand. Have you copied the words? It says ED fluctuates for various reasons. They go without saying. It is also too much of a coincidence that the ED suspects corruption only in opposition-ruled states and among leaders opposed to the BJP. This is the main point the editorial wants to convey. What is the main point? ED always suspects the party where BJP is not in power, some other party is in power, it focuses on that particular state. In this context, Rajasthan, being ruled by BJP or Congress. It also targets those who work for opposition parties, obviously. Main idea is being reiterated. It is also too much of a coincidence that the ED suspects corruption only in opposition-ruled states and among leaders opposed to the BJP. Few would accept, few always, is it in bold? So why is it important? Tell me. Few means what? Positive or negative? Negative. Hardly anything or almost nothing. It has a negative connotation. Means no one would accept. Few would accept an argument, if at all the BJP or the ED is making one, that there is no corruption in states ruled by the party or by its leaders. Now imagine ED has been attacking the states where BJP is not in power. It has been attacking leaders who don't work for BJP. And to justify, they may say, we are doing it because where BJP rules, there is no corruption. And where BJP is in power, the leaders are pure. Will anyone believe that? That's what the sentence is. No one is going to believe that. If at all they say also, they are not going to believe. After that, the BJP has been the only beneficiary of large-scale defections of elected representatives in recent years. If you look at the patterns in many states, many MLAs, local level, they won using a particular party symbol, but later they defected. The word defection, I'm sure you all know. Political defection means what? Jumping from one party to another party. And who got benefited? Obviously, BJP got benefited. No one can argue that agencies should not do their job. Should not do their job means what? What is the meaning, function of should? Helping verb. It is used to advise or suggest to someone. Please write if you don't know. Should is used to advise or suggest someone. We cannot say they should not do their job. They have to do their job. They should do their job, obviously. No one can argue that agencies should not do their job and enforce the law. No one will say that. Why will they point out ED if they are selective? That is the main point over here. But both governance and democracy are undermined. Remember, we got this word undermine means what? Weaken, make someone or something weak gradually. Where democracy are undermined when the rule of law is weaponized against political opponents, when action against political players is taken in the midst of an election. There are two dimensions over here. One is targeting the opposition parties or the states where BJP is not in power. Second dimension, the timing. What is the timing? Just before elections, they target. It makes a negative impact or a positive impact on the ruling party. Negative impact. So they want to gain advantage from that situation. Timing is also matters a lot. But both governance and democracy are undermined when the rule of law is weaponized against political opponents, when action against political players is taken in the midst of an election. It could potentially tilt the scales. Tilt the scales means what? You all know the word scale. Yes, sir. But here, write the plural form, scales. Scales, generally we don't use that. Native speakers use. I'm not an artist, but it looks like, what does it look like? A balance. For that we use the word scales. So tilt the scales means something goes in favor of either this side or this side. Tilt the scales. Imagine a lot of leaders who are representing the party in power, they get arrested before elections. Will they come back to power? Obviously, the public opinion changes and the scales tilt in the favor of the BJP in this context. That's what the sentence means. Tilt the scales. The current legal regime for fighting corruption. What is this current legal regime in this context? Please answer immediately. Enforcement Directorate. In this context, underline the words current legal regime for fighting corruption. Which one is that? There you write ED, Enforcement Directorate. The current legal regime for fighting corruption, that is Enforcement Directorate, and also the one against terrorism for that matter, is fast deteriorating into an arbitrary interment. Arbitrary means what? Not based on reason, based on someone's whims and fancies. In this context, the whims and fancies of the BJP party. And interment. What is the literal meaning of the word interment? Bury a dead body. In this context, you cannot take the literal meaning. It means what? Bury the opposition or the opposition leaders of those who are inconvenient for the ruling party. Inconvenient for the ruling party. Opposition party leaders are always inconvenient for the ruling party. As simple as that. And this needs to end. Means what? This has to be stopped. Have you got an idea? I had to do a little fast. And we have already done with a similar editorial, if you remember. Does it sound familiar or it doesn't sound familiar? Can you see the coordinator there? The last row, could you please? Please go through the questions in the meantime. First you work on error location. Then we can go to comprehension based. We'll work on exam topics. First, is a move chair. Adi. Thank you. Have you read the first sentence? The death sentence handed over by a Qatari court on Thursday to 8 Indians reportedly accused of espionage is indeed deeply shocking. I will ask a question, you tell me the part. Which part has an error? How many of you say first part? Only a few. There is an error in the first part. What is that error? Related to the phrasal verb. It is not handed over, it is handed down. Over is not correct. Write the word down. And you may ask, so what is the difference between hand over, hand down? Hand over goes more with responsibility or a particular person caught, handed over to someone else, the police. Handed down means to give the verdict. In this context, it goes with the verdict given by Qatari court, the death penalty. So what is the correct phrasal verb? Handed down. Means a verdict given by a particular court or the sentence given by a particular court. Go to the second question. The trial was shrouded in secrecy with scant information on the charges and evidence against the former Indian Navy serviceman arrested in August 2022. I hope you are getting enough time to spot the errors. How many of you say there is an error in the first part? Nothing wrong. Second part? Nothing wrong. Third part? Nothing wrong. Fourth part? Nothing wrong. So what is the answer? No error. Sentence is absolutely correct. Respect the fifth option sometimes. Go to question number 3. Leaked report suggests that the men have been accused of sharing secret information pertaining to the stealth submarine program they worked with a third country. How many of you say there is an error in the fourth part? What is wrong? They worked or they worked on? Please add the preposition on. With a third country, nothing wrong. They worked on. We have to use a preposition on at the end. Go to question number 4. A rift in ties, which a sentence like this is bound to endanger, will be to the detriment of both countries, and India must make this clear to Qatar. This is an easy one. Previous one difficult. First one difficult. Second one also no error, difficult, but this is an easy one. How many of you say there is an error in the second part? What is wrong with the second part? Is it endanger or engender? Please strike up the word endanger. What is the right word here? Engender. Engender means cause. Make something happen. Cause to happen. Engender. Not endanger. Endanger means what? Threaten. Jeopardy. It doesn't go with this context. Here, engender is the right word, not endanger. Go to the next one. This is also an easy one. Despite pleas from their families and Indian diplomats in Doha, Qatar has not explained why it has not divulged details of the case. Divulge or divulged, we have to use because it is in present perfect. The verb should be in the past participle form. Divulge is not correct, change it to divulged. It's a regular verb. It takes the letter D. Today I have brought a new exercise. Go to the next one, fillers. How is it new or different? You see a sentence with a blank, no options whatsoever, but you have been given the first letter and the last letter. So you have to think of the correct word. See, these are not, in the exam, these are very difficult. You got to be really good at English. But today, the same editorial you got on Saturday, a familiar context, not that difficult. You should be able to answer. Tell me, what is the first word? It begins with P, ends with S. One word, starting with P, ending with the letter S. When two lines run next to each other, what do you call? So what is the word here? Parallels. Please write the word parallels. While this case has some parallels, Parallels, the case, it deals with the case in Pakistan. Understand the context. Apart from, here the word begins with the letter S, ends with the letter C. But there's a clue for you. Are these difficult for you? I cannot give options, that is a problem. Underline the word defense. Whenever you think of the word defense, you have to think of strategy, strategic studies. Remember, I told many a time, strategic, the word strategic studies, it deals with military dominance, in a way related to defense. But what is the difference between strategic and defense cooperation? Strategic means military dominance. And the right word here, strategic. What is the spelling? S-T-R-A-T-E-G-I-C, strategic and defense cooperation agreement. Now, third one is rather easy. What is the spelling? Only one letter is missing. Which one is that? A. Raw materials. Fourth one is difficult. It is an adverb. Obviously, it ends in the letter Y. You have to think of. Next time, I'll give the number of letters also. The number, how many letters, that may help. Related to, what is the word? No, related to something, one thing, and appropriate, relevant, what is the word? Pertinently, very good. The right word here, pertinently. I gave the combination the other day, pertinent question. Means what? Relevant, appropriate, related to. Pertinently is a word. Go to the last one. This is also an easy one. In addition, 7 lakh Indian expatriates, those who leave the country, live somewhere else. We use the word diaspora. We also use the word expatriate. Remember, I gave on Saturday expatriate. How do you find this exercise? Easy or difficult or challenging? To some extent, challenging. Next time, I'll give the number of letters. That may help to some extent. And here we have a para jumble. Please go through and see if you can get the correct order. How many parts are there? We have, take elimination approach. I will ask the question, you respond. Can A be the first one? Why? Underline to ensure there is no subject. Can B be the first one? Chances are there, hold that one. Can C be the first one? Underline the word that. Demonstrative adjectives or pronouns or relative pronouns or conjunctions, we cannot. And can D be the first one? Hold that one. Can E be the first one? Apart from, cannot be the first one. And case must be, a case, indefinite article cannot be the first one. So what is the first one here? D is the first one. The government must waste no time in charting the next steps. To do what? To ensure that the Indians are given the best possible support in an appeal. So which two form a pair? DA. What is the next one? E is the third one. Apart from the legal appeals process and diplomatic legwork, what is the next one? Channels to the Qatari leadership should be activated at the highest levels, including the Prime Minister if necessary. So DA one pair, EB one pair. And what are the last two sentences? A case must be made for clemency and commuting the sentences to jail terms that could even be served out in India if the men are indeed found guilty in the appeals process. These two form a pair. Right? I haven't given enough time, but you may get something like this in the exam, very important. Let us go to questions based on this editorial. You should answer, what recent actions by ED have raised concerns in Rajasthan? Searches at the homes of the Chief Minister's family, investigation in the leak of the general knowledge paper, enforcement of new welfare schemes, no, not correct, probes into foreign exchange violations by BJP leaders. So what is the answer? Is it the first one or the second one? B. How many of you say B? Very good. According to the editorial, what has the Enforcement Directorate been accused of? Selectively targeting opposition leaders. That is the main idea. B is the answer. What has Rajasthan CM Ashok Gehlot done differently to challenge the perception of incumbent governments in the state? Launched a publicity blitzkrieg, introduced new taxation policies, implemented a series of welfare schemes. Answer is C. Perfect. Why does the editorial question the claim that all ED actions are to root out corruption? Now, tell me. Is it because the ED only targets BJP leaders? ED does not target BJP leaders. Because the ED's enthusiasm in pursuing corruption fluctuates, hold the second option. Because the ED is highly effective in its investigations, no. Because the BJP has no corruption in its ranks, that is ruled out. So what is the answer here? B is the answer. Fluctuates. They have used the word fluctuates. What does the editorial suggest is the consequence of taking action against political players in the midst of an election? Easy to answer this one. It potentially tilts the scales in favor of a particular party. Clearly mentioned. Timing is very important. And these, today's phrasal verb, come up with means what? Create or invent something. Look at the example. Every time I ask him to do something, he always comes up with a list of excuses for why he cannot do it. A smart guy. These words you got on Saturday, you have to respond. First, I'll read the word, you have to tell the part of speech, then the meaning. What is the first word here? Leverage. Can be a noun, can be a verb. Meaning, take maximum advantage of something. Very good. And espionage. Noun, meaning spying. Very good. Shroud. Shroud is a verb. It's a regular verb. Shroud, shrouded, shrouded. Meaning covered, hide, cover, conceal. Something you don't want to divulge or reveal. And scant. Scant, adjective. Another form is there. What is that? Scanty. That is also adjective form. Means not enough. What are the other words? Shortage, lack, dearth. All these words you have to think. Plea. Noun, meaning urgent and emotional appeal. Make a plea. Divulge. Verb, it's a regular verb. Meaning to make public, to disclose, to reveal. Reveal, disclose, make public. And the word goes with information, secrets. Pertinent. First part of speech. Adjective. Pertinent question. So adjective. Means appropriate or related to. And pertain. This is a verb. Pertain, pertain, pertain. Here you can say related to. And stealth. Stealth is an adjective. Stealth submarine program. That is an adjective. We also use another form, stealthy. Means what? Secretive. Very good. And clemency. Noun. Meaning mercy. It goes with death penalty. And legwork. It is a noun, obviously. What is the meaning of that? To travel a lot to get information, and that is a bit difficult to do also. They have used the word boring, but don't use the word boring. Difficult work, which involves traveling to gather information. Why is it difficult? Because one has to go to another country and gather information. Next, you have responded well, but I want more students to come up with the answers. That would be quite encouraging. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.